All right, we're talking about it. Are you talking about it? Young children, even babies who attend preschool or daycare in the city, by this time next year will be mandated to get a flu shot.
The Board of Health voted to make the shot mandatory for kids under the age of 6. Health officials say it will save lives, but many people are against it. Joining us, our panel to discuss this, we have registered nurse Melody Anne Butler, who formed the group Nurses Who Vaccinate, and Autism Action Network's John Gilmore. He is opposed to this new requirement. Welcome to you both.
Thank you.
All right, so why are you for it? Why do you think it's a good idea, Melody?
Well, the flu shot has been clinically proven to save lives, and the earlier you start, 6 months and older, you help protect children, and when you protect children, you're also protecting families.
But don't you get sometimes people get the flu even when they get the flu shot?
Yes, but they also will get a less severe version of it, and the more people who get the flu shot, the less people who actually contracted the disease.
Mr. Gilmore, you're also concerned about something much more serious than the flu.
Well, yes. I mean, because the flu shot really isn't nearly as effective as people are led to believe it is. I mean, there's study after study that shows that its effectiveness is questionable. There are a great deal of side effects associated with it, and there isn't a good evidence that it is actually effective at all in young children. So we don't think it's really a procedure that should be required. I mean, because it's of the problems with it.
And the tie into autism?
At this age group, that's not really an issue. Okay, what is an issue though is neurological damage, and all you got to do is read the package insert for the flu shot, and it's right there that it can cause Guillain-Barré syndrome and a variety of other neurological problems. And we just don't think that it's called for. If parents want to give their child this shot, they can do it. They can go to any drugstore and do it. We don't see any reason why it should be forced upon them by the city of New York. These will be the only citizens in the state of New York who are required by law to get this shot.
Melody, you know, we were kids once.
Yes.
We didn't have to worry about being mandated. I mean, there were certain things that were mandated.
Keep in mind, Rosanna had the mumps and the measles.
Chickenpox.
I'm very sorry.
Skipped a lot of vaccines.
Mononucleosis and appendicitis.
But isn't it great that we can prevent that now?
But what's the big deal? Kids are supposed to go through these natural things and develop immunities on their own.
Well, last year, 35% of the children who died from the flu died within 3 days. Most of them had no medical history. The parents had no clue they were going to get that sick that fast. It's very scary. We think of the flu as something you can get over in a week.
Right.
A lot of these children, almost 169 children died from the flu last year.
Would they have died from something else if it wasn't for the flu?
40% had no medical history. That's scary.
Tell us about Nurses Who Vaccinate. That's your group. Why did you start it? Who's involved? And is there any funding coming from, I guess, the pharmaceutical industry?
Oh, not at all. This is all done in my own free time. I work with other parents and nurses who are very passionate about vaccines. We see what happens when children don't get their vaccines on time. We have the studies that show that vaccines are safe and effective and they work. We are able to advocate within the community and schools and in the state for a vaccine safety.
Mr. Gilmore?
Well, I just disagree with that. Just this week in the New England Journal of Medicine, a study came out that said that the review showed that reliable evidence of influenza vaccines is thin, but there is evidence of widespread manipulation of conclusion and spurious notoriety of the studies. Okay.
We have seen, the headlines every year really scare people, but it seems to kind of stay the same.
What I suggest to people who are getting their information from the internet, there's a great source
That's
of
New England
information.
Journal of Medicine.
No, and I understand that. And I suggest they talk to the pediatricians, go to the CDC websites, vaccinateyourbaby.org, Voices for Vaccines. These are credible websites
I just think
that can break it down.
6 months is so young to be giving.
And they're also young to be on ICU as well.
And there's no evidence in the medical literature that it even works at 6 months. Okay, that's not even in dispute.
Well, that is true because I mean, it's very hard to find children who are going to be studied in that setting. So what we do is post after the release. A lot of them are the vaccine is always modified and it's always very closely watched. Okay. And it's great that we can keep the studies.
And again, this is the Lancet, one of the most influential medical journals in the world. Immunization of very young children does not lend support by our findings. We've recorded no convincing evidence that vaccines can reduce mortality, admission to hospitals, and community transmission of influenza.
You know what the problem is that some parents send their kids to school when they should be home. and therein lies the problem.
We're not going to be able to resolve it here, but Mr. Gilmore, thank you. Ms. Butler, thank you. And by the way, I got the flu shot. I was a little reluctant, but...
And you're fine, right?
America's physician walked in, Dr. Oz, and convinced me to do it. And he's the one doctor I would say, okay, give me the flu shot.
I want to see your face. Look at your face when you get it.
It wasn't nice.
And I thank you for protecting yourself and families, because when you get...
Well, I have to tell you, Ms. Mel, yeah, no, I didn't, but I have gotten sick from this before.
But you did not get sick.
Not this time,
But
but
it
it's
wasn't-
happened
it wasn't
before.
a flu,
It
though,
was your
yes.
choice.
You're right about that.
Okay.
Well,
Not these children
And
are not
children
going to
have
have
a right
choice.
to get medical intervention to protect themselves. We
All
have
right.
the technology, we should use it.
The